accidentally split up my best friend's parents. My best friend at the time, we'll call her Sarah. Sarah and I were inseparable. We did everything together. She had this like insane house. So we'd always hang out at her house, right? I had only met her dad twice, and we'll call him Dan. So the 2 times I met Dan, we had like a great rapport. Like it was just really fun. Like I would crack jokes about like his weight or like put him in a headlock while he's on the couch, but like he was just never around. So one day I'm at their house and I was like, yo, like, where's Dan all the time? And her mom was like, oh, well, you know, he has like a job with the government. I really can't say much more, but like, yeah, whenever like the job calls, he's just kind of got to go. I was like, oh, I guess that makes sense. Well, come like 2 days before Christmas, I'm hanging out at Sarah's house and I was like, yo, where's Dan? And she's like, oh yeah, he had like a last minute call. Like he's not going to be home for the holidays. I was like, Christmas or New Year? She's like, yeah, like, but oh well. Well, fast forward. Sarah's birthday is at the end of January. Drive her to the restaurant. We walk in. Surprise! Everyone's there but Dan. And I'm like, oh, and you know, like my friends like all like, oh my God, how you doing? Like all excited. And I turned to her mom and I was like, yo, where's Dan? She's like, yeah, he had like another meeting. He couldn't make it. And I was like, on her 16th birthday?
Buddy.
She's like, yeah, I know, but like that's his job, Morgan. I was like, okay, like didn't think anything of it. Blah, blah, blah. She gets the car. Yay, happy birthday, blah, blah, blah. Well, fast forward, like, I want to say like a month later, I go over to her house and Dan is there. I was like, yo, stranger danger, Mr. Worldwide 305, golly. I was like, where have you been? He's like, oh, you know, business. I was like, oh yeah, business. And I put him like a fake chokehold. I was like, you sure you don't got another wife somewhere? What, you got another wife? You got a second family? Is that why you're never here? Like poking fun.
Oh.
And he like grabs my arm and like looks at me. He's like, what? Like very like different than how I saw him. I was like, yeah, I'm just playing. Like punch him on the arm. And I was like, well, anyways, like, Sarah, let's go upstairs. So I like run upstairs, shut the door, and I look at her and I go, dude, what the is that? She's like, dude, what the was that? I was like, I don't know, but your dad was just like mad sketchy just then. She's like, right? Well, 2 days later, I get a call in the middle of the night. She is sobbing, hyperventilating. I can hear like screaming in the background of the call. I was like, yo, what's going on? She's like, he's engaged to another woman. I went to his phone and found everything. I was like, shut the up.
How do people have time for second families? I barely have time for one boyfriend.
My brother ratted out my dad cheating on my mom to my grandma. This happened back in the 90s before some of y'all were even born, and I was literally an infant and my brother was like 5 or 6 years old. We lived in Utah at the time and my grandma was visiting us from Mississippi, and one day she decided to take us around town for like a bunch of errands and just, you know, a day out on the town. So as we're driving around town, we passed the arcade and my brother looks out the window and says out loud to my grandma, oh, I love the arcade. Dad and his friend take me there all the time to go play. So my grandma's intrigued and asks my brother, what friend? And my brother goes, her name's Colleen. I can show you where she lives. So straight from memory, my brother guides my grandma over to this house that my dad has been cheating on my mom with for months. My grandma then asked my brother, how do you know where she lives? And he said, oh, dad brings us over sometimes. We didn't even stay the night before. My grandma ended up telling my mom, my dad left my mom, married that bitch, and then they got a divorce 6 months later. Seriously, you gotta watch what you're doing around your kids, because they paying attention and they'll rat you out.
Bro, how do you think a child is not smart enough to know what the hell is going on? Kids also have no filter. Like, why wouldn't they out you? They probably don't even know they're outing you. They probably just think it's normal. Oh, dad's hanging out with this other woman. My dad has been sleeping with my mom's sister, and I've been keeping it a secret for 9 years. My mom and dad's relationship was already very strained. This wasn't the first time he cheated. He had cheated on her previously with a mutual friend of hers. I saw how much that broke her. She was constantly crying, had to go on for a while, but she stayed strong for me and never cried in front of me. At this time, they were having one of their little fights, so my mom left my grandma's house and told my dad to tell her when I got home so she could come and get me. At this time, I was in 3rd grade, so I was about 8 years old. I walked into the house, everything seemed normal, and went upstairs to my bedroom and saw my dad with my mom's sister, giggitying. I don't think it registered in my 8-year-old brain that what my dad was doing was wrong. My dad told me that he was helping her, and of course, I was naive and stupid, and I believed him and never told my mom. They contained this affair, and as it continued, my dad and mom started getting better. I didn't realize what my dad was doing wrong until I was in the 6th grade and caught him again, this time on the living room couch while my mom was upstairs sleeping. This man is for the streets. I felt sick, like genuinely I wanted to cry, and I still feel so guilty to this day. When I confronted my dad, he told me that it was my fault he was cheating. I remember how much I cried when he told me that. I started distancing myself myself from my mom because I felt so guilty. She obviously noticed and tried to get closer with me, but I refused. I started growing a hatred for my dad. Seeing my mom kiss him made me sick. Every time I would build up the courage to tell her, I would get afraid like a coward. My dad and my mom are better now, and I don't argue as much, if not at all, but I'm sure my dad is still having an affair with her sister. He's just not as open about it now that I'm older. Oh god, the sister gotta go too, bro. She gotta go. Everybody gotta go. I love my mom more than anything and anybody in this world, and yet I couldn't and still can't build up the courage to tell her. I think you need to tell her. She deserves better than that. Nobody deserves this. And also, you don't deserve it, sweetheart. I caught my mom cheating and she's trying to convince me my dad knows. I thought I lived with a perfect family raised by two loving parents, early 40s. My dad is an engineer who's been traveling a lot for the past year, and my mom is in healthcare, taking shifts in different times of the day. My laptop broke down and I asked to use my mom's laptop to finish a school project. When I was working, I saw a couple of WhatsApp notifications pop up with spicy messages. I tried not to pay attention until I realized these were from Pete and not from Dad. I could not believe my eyes and I felt like throwing the laptop in the trash and pretend I never saw it. After I collected my thoughts, I went back to the chat, and from what I can see, they met at least 4 or 5 times, starting just a couple of months after my dad began traveling. I took photos of the chat history and went to my room trying to process. I couldn't even finish my homework. From the messages, they were supposed to meet tonight. And lo and behold, just a half hour before the meeting time, she passed by my room to let me know she's going to work. The next day, I gathered my courage to confront her. I think she knew that I discovered her because the new chat messages have been read by me, and I think I left the chat tab open before returning her laptop. I told her I knew what she was doing and that it was wrong. She sat me down and tried to calm me, but I told her no way I would be calm, and she said I will understand once I hear the explanation. She told me that she and Dad agreed to open their marriage shortly after he began traveling. To be honest, I didn't fully comprehend, so she explained what that entailed. She told me it was completely physical and she would never have feelings for anyone other than my dad. The messages I read support this, as they were only about the giggity, and they agreed to only do it if one of them is away. Okay, but I still think you need to ask your dad. I think that we need to double check. She closed by saying this is adult stuff agreed between two loving adult spouses and I should stay out of it. I was dumbfounded and didn't know how to react the whole time. Yeah, we need to talk to Papa about this. I started reading online about open marriages, and this is how I found the subreddit. It was consistent with what she said, but it just didn't make sense to me. I don't believe my dad would agree to this, as his views are generally more conservative. Also, when he's away, he's more present with us than her, as he video chats with us or plays online games with my 2 brothers almost daily. In yesterday's call, I asked him why he has to travel a lot, and he says this is hard, but it's necessary to secure college money for me and my brothers. He assumes that it will change soon. I asked him, how can he bear being away from his wife for almost half of the year? And he said their relationship foundation is strong. Temporary separation only causes them to miss each other more and value the limited time they have with each other. He asked me if everything is all right, and I told him not to worry. I honestly don't know if I should believe her. Should I ask her for the proof of the open marriage claim? I'm mortified to tell Dad, but is that my only option to confirm? I don't want our perfect family to be torn apart, but would it be fair to Dad to keep the secret? I've been crying nonstop since this revelation and don't know what to do. Also, to be fair, you're not the one breaking up a marriage, and if it's true what your mom says, that they have an agreement, that they have an open marriage, then you wouldn't be breaking anything up. It's also not your fault if the marriage ends. It's the fault of the person who's cheating.